Okay, now that your JCMs are on again, just see what effect it's got. And then you go to the Genesis foot and change that to 75 from 65, because your JCM for the foot bend down actually is at 100% when the foot is down 75% at the 75% mark. Alright, now I'm going to select one foot, and I'm going to use weight map symmetry from one side of the shoe to the other. Since it's a symmetrical mesh, it will work. It will only work if you have symmetrical mesh. But that means I didn't have to do weight mapping on the other shoe. Okay, set it back down to base resolution. And now I can start fixing the JCMs. Control copy the name for the morph, that's the JCM that's active, and then export it to a folder where you want to put all your JCMs in. Makes it easier to keep track of everything. So there we go. Accept. Okay, now I'm using Modo. I'm going to import the morph. Alright, I can use my tab key to turn subdivision on and off in Modo, which makes it easy to see what it's going to look like in DAZ Studio when your high resolution's on. Okay, so I can see there's a bit of fixing that needs to be done, and I'm going to use my sculpt move tool just to adjust it a little bit and loosen up the edges there. Because I have a texture on it, I can see any texture distortions that's happening. I'm just going to keep on my move tool and my smoothing tool to fix this JCM. Then I use export selected to export just the OBJ for the shoe. And I'm going to use Morph Loader Pro to import the morph with reverse deformation turned on. I'm going to find my morph, foot down, and I have reverse deformation. And there you go, it overwrote the one that was in there. Now I'm going to do the same for the other foot, but because it's a symmetrical mesh, I can actually use the morph that I just made to do the same for the other side. So Morph Loader Pro, find the same one, but now I'm going to rename it, and I know that the other side just has an R instead of an L. Exactly the same, and then for morph mirroring, you're going to use XSwap and accept. And there it's mirrored the morph to the other side. All fixed. Okay, now I'm going to use the geometry tool. Oops, I want to select the shoe, just in case some of the vertices moved around during that process. I favorite that morph, and then you can use clear selected deltas from favorites to get rid of any vertices that might have moved. it's not always necessary, but I find that if I move the other foot and I see a little bit of movement on the foot, on the other foot, then it's good to just remove them. Alrighty, now I'm going to do the same for the toes. Base mesh, base resolution, smoothing. I can test. It's a case of what looks best. So it's got quite a bit of distortion that it fixes there. Let's see. I think I'm going to leave it on this time for the export because it pulls it just enough to fix the, yeah. Okay, copy the name, and then I'm going to export as an OBJ. I'm going to import it into Modo and do the same thing again. Just a bit of house cleaning. I sorted so that if it's by date modified, the latest one is always at top, makes it easier to find things. Alright. Zoom in, and there's just a little bit of cleanup to be done there. So again, I'm going to use my sculpt move tool with a little bit of smoothing every now and then to relax the edges there, get rid of any poke through, make sure there's no mesh texture distortions. Then I export it back out again and bring it into the studio with Morph Threader Pro. Again, reverse deformation. There we go. Perfect. And again, you can do the same on the other side because it's identical morph. You can use the one that you just fixed. You're going to bring it in and change that to the right side and have morph mirroring on. Change that to swap. And okay. Alright, doesn't look like there's any vertices moving on the other shoe at all.